Welcome to Multifamily Insights. I'm your host, John Casman, and I want to thank you for checking out another great episode. Listen, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you are an avid listener of this show, do me a very short favor, leave us a rating and review. We want to hear what you love about the show, but also anything we can do to make you work harder for your investing goals. We've got a really good show today. We're going to be talking to Jason Lee. Now, Jason Lee is a highly recognized real estate broker in the multifamily real estate industry. Now, he has worked with several 8 to 10 figure real estate investors in San Diego County, helping them acquire, sell, and 1031 exchange in order to improve their portfolio. In the last couple of years, Jason has represented over 100 investors and sold over $250 million worth of real estate in San Diego County. Let's welcome to the show, from San Diego, I should say, Jason Lee.
Hey, John, how you doing? Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I'm good, man. Absolutely. Listen, it's great to have you on. And, you obviously have a wonderful background here as a broker over the last few years in particular. But why don't you take 2 minutes and fill in some of the gaps on that background?
Yeah, for sure. As you probably know, real estate, no matter what industry you're in, first year is a living hell, especially in brokerage.
Say that again, man, just to make sure everyone understands.
Yeah, the first year is tough, man. It's a lot of learning, a lot of failures, a lot of tough nights. But as you know, commercial real estate's a very tough industry to get into, no matter what you're doing, whether you're an investor, broker, lender, whoever it is. It's all about who you know and your relationships. And I knew nobody when I started. I started when I was a junior in college. Basically, had less than $500 in my bank account. No support from parents because come from a poor middle class background. And from there I basically just started as an intern my junior year and then just kind of banged the phones all day long. And then in 2020 I bought my first property, and my partner and I, without raising any capital, have taken our portfolio from about zero to a $40 million asset value here in San Diego. So that's my background and my story.
I love it, man. Well, you kind of glossed over that last point, man, but you talked about going from zero to a $40 million portfolio. That's huge, especially without raising capital. So we'll definitely have to dig into that. But just to recap, I love the fact that you pointed out that the first year, particularly in commercial real estate, it's tough. Whether you're an investor, broker, mortgage broker, it's going to be tough that first year because this industry is relationship driven. And I think that's really, really important for people to understand and manage their own expectations, because I know you want to get started and jump in there. And maybe you're going through this right now where you've been looking for deals for the last 6 months or 9 months, and you're frustrated that you don't have the results that you feel you should have. So it's great to hear that, by being patient, sticking with it, being consistent, being persistent, and continue to show up, eventually you were able to break through and see some good results. We're going to talk mostly about the brokerage side, but you just mentioned going from zero to 40 million. So let's dive deeper into that. You mentioned you and your partner have built this $40 million portfolio. How exactly have you been able to do that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So basically, I'm on the brokerage side. He runs a basically like a hard money, private money fund where he lends people on like fix and flip properties with his investors. And his family's got a lot of cash as well. So basically what we did was I was kind of the deal guy out there finding the best deals in the market. Our bread and butter has been anywhere from like 4 to 20 units here in San Diego. So small to medium sized multifamily where the asset value is still pretty high because we're in San Diego, but not a lot of competition because it's all mom and pop investors. No institutions out of state, like BlackRock is going to buy a 20 unit property in San Diego, right? They're only looking 100 units and above. So kind of found the sweet spot where we're finding like really good deals, 30 to 40% below market value that I was sourcing because I have a team of about, 7 agents, including myself, who are out on the phones every single day. So from there, I would source the deals. And then, I had a good chunk of change from making commissions and brokerage. I was doing pretty well. And so was my partner. And I met my partner through basically brokering him 2 or 3 deals. And we kind of hit it off and kind of wanted to grow our own thing. So I think the partnership and how we meshed was extremely crucial and is good for your audience to hear, because a great partnership, a great team can take you a really long way, or it can take you the other way, a really bad path. Because I've had some bad partners as well. So yeah, I mean, that's really how it started. And then how we funded the deals was basically me and him would put down like 10 to 20% and then get like a first trustee from a bank. And then he would put like a second trustee on it where we needed a lot less down. And the risk wasn't as high because we were buying it at a such low value that where, the LTV still wasn't that, risky overall to market value.
Man, you gave a bunch of gems right there, man. Let me break that down. So you talked about one, making this relationship from selling this individual deals, building that relationship and getting to know them a little bit more, understanding that your goals were aligned as far as what you wanted to do next and scaling, and you ultimately decided to partner together. Your role is really finding the deals, being a broker yourself, having a team of other agents, hitting the phones, making those calls. You were able to source these opportunities. So, you're getting them at a bit of a discount than what they might go for on the MLS or the open market. So those two things I think are really key, right? You knew what you brought to the table. Your partner obviously brought some capital to the table and there was a good working relationship there. And then second, really understanding the partnership and how you connect and working together. And I love the fact that you pointed out you've had other experiences. You've had other partnerships where it didn't pan out as well. And that's just one of the growing pains. It just takes some time to figure out, who you work with and what you like, what you need in a partner. And you were able to identify that. So really powerful insights for anyone looking to scale and grow, because if you can find and align with the right people, you can take your business to the next level. You talked about having a team of 7 agents, right? You obviously have grown relatively quickly here because you talked about, being into college and being a junior and getting into the industry. And, here you are today. Walk me through kind of building out kind of your team of agents to help you cold call and find these off market opportunities.
Yeah. To be completely honest and transparent, basically, after like my third year, after I learned the business from, my amazing mentors, the brokers of that company, I thought it was time to branch out and kind of start my own brand. And at that point, it seemed pretty early for most people. When I branched out, I was only, 24 years old. So everyone thought I was crazy. But I had some good relationships with people that were a little younger than me from San Diego State University, and people were seeing the deals that I was doing on social media. So I was slowly building that brand awareness on social media by posting on my closings, posting about what I had going on. So anyone that's listening, social media is a super powerful thing you can leverage in order to kind of build your brand and build your team to show people, like what you're doing and why you could add value if they work with you. So people saw that, and I had organic reach already, like people reaching out to me about like what I was doing, how we could work together. And basically some of my acquaintances and friends from college that were, 2, 3 years younger than me wanted to come work with me. And that's kind of how the team started. From there, it's been all organic reach, people coming to me on socials. I never put out like an ad or anything on Indeed. It's been pretty organic on like LinkedIn, Instagram, and a little bit of Facebook.
I love it, man. And that's a great way to grow. I mean, social media can be very powerful. Goes back to relationship building, right? But you're putting it out there, what you're doing. People are seeing, okay, here's a guy, he's younger. This is the kind of agent, this is the kind of brokerage that I would want to hang my hat at and work with. So they're able to go out there and work with you. And you didn't really have to do a whole lot of, marketing to go out there and find these people, because of your natural marketing, the social media posts you were doing was already attracting those individuals into your fold. That's great to hear, man. And just love the way you built it. And again, I think part of it is understanding branding. A lot of times people think branding is the advertising or the marketing that you do, but that's important. That's a part of it for sure. But you have to let people know what it is that you do and how you can help them. And then they will come to you, if they feel like you can help them. And I know you typically are putting those posts out there probably for owners and buyers so that they know, hey, if you want to buy or sell multifamily or, commercial real estate, I'm your guy. But on the same note, other agents are looking at that to say, you know what? I think this is where I want to work because I like what they're doing. It's younger, it's fresher, it's the things that I can learn and grow. And that's the reason that they're coming to work with you, because they've gotten to know you, they've got to know your brand, your style, and it's a little bit easier when they come in the door, having a better sense of who you are and the way you operate. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you said it perfectly. I think your point about how branding is not just marketing and advertising is really important, because you can do all the advertising you want, but if people don't know who you are and what you do and what you stand for, then those advertising dollars will go nowhere. So yeah, everything I agree with that you said.
Yeah, man. I want to go back. So earlier, when you talked about the way you and your partner are structuring these deals and the way you were able to scale, you mentioned that you're getting first trust deeds, and then later on, your partner will come and put a second trust deed. What exactly is a trust deed? Because this may be the first time some people are hearing that term.
Yeah, I mean, trust deed, also known as, here in California at least, also known as a lien or a mortgage. Trust deed is just the first mortgage. First trust deed is the first mortgage, so it's like a typical loan from like a, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, typical bank. So that's like traditional financing, and then the second trust deed is like usually almost 99% of the time, unless sometimes for construction, maybe on some assets, but 99% of the time, it's basically money from a private fund or private investors that basically will help you, lower your down payment. Because if you get a loan if you buy $1 million property and you get 25% down, you have a loan of 750. If you can get a first trust deed or a second trust deed of 150,000, now your down payment's only 10%. And like I said, this can be very risky if you don't do it correctly. So you have to make sure you understand the market, and you have to know that you're buying at a discount. If you're buying a property at market value and you do this, you will lose. I promise you that. So you can only buy it like this if you're buying a value add property that's heavily discounted.
I think that's a really important disclaimer. And all of this is, we're just having a conversation, but that strategy only works if you're buying it at a deep enough discount where you can lever up, because that ARV, or the after repair value, or after you stabilize the property, it's going to be high enough where even though you're using high leverage to acquire the property, the value is still high enough where you can either refinance or have some equity, once you're done. So that is a really, really important insight if you are thinking about using the kind of strategy that Jason is using right there. With that said, the market is obviously shifting. Things are changing a little bit here. Interest rates have gone up. How has that impacted your current portfolio, and has that had an impact at all on your strategy?
Yeah. On the current portfolio, not much, because San Diego is a very resilient market. I mean, in 2008 and 2010, one of the worst real estate recessions, there's only 8 foreclosures for multifamily down here. So not a lot of distress here. A lot of people who've owned the properties forever and have no debt on it and are cash flowing. There will be some blood in the streets, just like in every market, but nothing crazy so far, at least. And as the rates have gone up on the brokerage side, we have gotten a lot slower. I think people are still shocked from how fast rates have gone up. A lot of people are on the sidelines, not knowing, what to really do, if they should place their capital. That being said, as you probably know, John, there's so much money on the sidelines. Whereas, if prices do go down a little bit, there will be big money to scoop it up. But right now, I think it's a really good buying opportunity at this point, because first off, it's December. It's the time of year where a lot of people are kind of, hanging their hat and kicking back and relaxing. And since rates are double what they were last year, a lot of people are just, seeing what happens. So I've been seeing some really good deals lately, honestly. I've been seeing some good opportunities surface up. But we're being a lot pickier because, we're underwriting that worst case scenario. It's if rates go up another 1 to 2% next year, maybe more. We have to put that pad in the underwriting. So we're being very cautious on our exit cap rate and how we underwrite.
No, I appreciate that. And I do think, and this is obviously going to come out probably early 2023. So from a timing standpoint, I think the key thing here is that the market is always moving. It may not move very fast, but you always want to be paying attention. And the best way to pay attention is you have to keep looking at deals. You have to keep looking at new offerings. You have to follow up and understand, well, how long did it, take to sell? What did it transition or trade for? And continue to put in offers. So that's going to give you a good read of where the market actually is. Jason, you're in a really unique position because you're a broker as well as an investor. So talk to us about that duality. Do you get some potential clients who are concerned that they may be competing with you, or that maybe you're saving the best deals for yourself? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I get a lot. Honestly, it's never really come up, because I feel like in real estate, there's so many opportunities out there, and a market that's big as San Diego County. I haven't really competed with my clients ever. That being said, I mean, no one can buy everything. I definitely can't. So I've given out a ton of great deals to my clients ever since I started buying. So, yeah, I mean, I put my broker hat on first, but if I think I have the bandwidth to kind of take a property down, then I will. But yeah, I mean, I've never had that conflict of interest come up, but I think you have to play it the right way. I think you have to, not show off about what you're buying, not market it to the world. But then again, being very honest, I work with mainly sellers too. I work with a lot of listings. So, I don't have a lot of that conflict of interest because I'm mainly working with people who are looking to sell their property for the highest price.
There you go. And explain that, right? So when you talk about working with sellers, what advantage or disadvantage does that give you when you go in the door trying to sell yourself to that seller as opposed to maybe your competition?
Yeah. If I know that the client wants to list their property, there's no way that I'm going to try to, buy that property. I have a fiduciary obligation with my license to make sure they get the highest price for their property and they get max value. And I'm very empathetic about that. So, the only situation where I will buy a property directly is if the person does not want to list it, they want to sell it off market, they want to sell it quickly, they don't want to deal with the broker. You always have to disclose that I am a broker, but if you kind of put everything up front and say, hey, look, I have my license, but I'll buy your property for the price you want, then you're doing good business. But whenever you try to hide anything in real estate and you don't disclose, as you know, things just go wrong. So I think just the biggest tip I have is if you're a broker looking to buy properties, just disclose everything up front and let everyone know that, you're an agent, put it in the contract, disclose it, and you'll be good.
What's that process with your team, right? I know you said your agents are doing cold calls, they're reaching out to owners. Are they reaching out saying, hey, I want to buy this property and then pivoting? Or are they reaching out saying, hey, are you interested in selling or listing your property? Just give us a little bit of that insider trading, if you will, on the back end there.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So basically my team, they're all licensed agents. They're not out there trying to you know, try to pitch them as buyers. So yeah, they're trying to see if they're looking to sell their property, if they consider, listing it, what their motivation is. So yeah, we always have our broker hat on first to serve our, buyers and sellers in the area. But if an opportunity arises where it makes sense all around, then we'll chase it. But yeah, my guys are calling as agents looking to find sellers, find buyers.
Got to appreciate that clarity. You mentioned that, or in your bio, I mentioned that you had transacted on over $250 million of real estate, lots of transactions there. What kind of deals do you focus on when it comes to working with those sellers?
Yeah, so our main transaction size has anywhere been from like $1 to $5 million. So pretty small multifamily. I think the biggest property I've sold is like 20 something units. So it's all like mom and pop, very, very, very niche market. So that's like mainly our investor base. So yeah, it's been a lot of volume. There's a lot more volume in like the small to medium size apartments than like institutional, at least here in California. A lot less deals if you're selling properties that are, 70, 80 units and up. So yeah, I think the volume has really um, helped me kind of grow and scale and meet a lot of people very quickly because, you know, commercial real estate, it really is a small world no matter where you are. A lot of the players know each other. So I think being able to kind of immerse myself in a niche has really helped me grow and scale my business.
I think the insight there is that, when I hear your story and think about what you've said up to this point, everything you're doing works together, right? What you do as a broker, it's the same kind of deals you're looking for as an investor. You're talking to the same owners. They may not be ready to sell today, but maybe 3 years from now, they are ready to sell. And you're positioning yourself as a person who helps transact on 1 to 20 units, essentially, right? So as those individuals are looking to sell, as they are looking, or 5 to 20 units, but as they're looking to sell, as you're making the connections, you probably have deep relationships with, really everyone in the industry because you are both working with those sellers, you're talking to them frequently, you're working with buyers, you're building relationships, and all the work you're doing builds on itself and continues to reinforce that you're the person to talk to when it comes to 5 to 20 unit apartment buildings. And I think that is a really, really keen insight because a lot of times, people work, but they are all over the place. you have your license and you're an agent, but you also flip houses and you also have a day job and you also do something else on the side and maybe you do some private lending. So it's tough to really understand what you do and build a personal brand where people know, okay, I go to this person for that. And what Jason has been able to do is focus on 5 to 20 units and say 5 to 20 units, San Diego County. That is my focus. That is my level of expertise. So if you're looking to buy or sell in that area, Jason's the guy you're going to think about right away. Pick up the phone and call him. Whether you're looking to buy, whether you're looking to sell, you know that he's going to be extremely knowledgeable about that market. So if you're looking to grow and scale, sometimes you do have to niche down so that you can lock in and get really, really good at something specific so that people know you're the go-to person for that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well said.
Jason, you're doing a lot of other stuff, right? But that's kind of your focus. I know you also host a podcast and you do some YouTube content as well. Talk to us about those platforms.
Oh yeah, for sure. Appreciate it. Yeah, so you were on my podcast like a month ago. Great guest, by the way. Yeah, so I run a show that I've kind of been doing for almost 2 years now. It's called the Multifamily Millionaire Podcast, Real Income from Real Estate. Kind of just interview real estate investors who have made it, have done well in the industry. And then my YouTube channel and all my other social media links are just my full name, Jason Joseph Lee. You can find me there and connect with me on there.
Yeah, so make sure you check out that content. I mean, Jason's got a lot of good information, so we'll make sure we put links to that in our show notes if you want to check that out there. Jason, we're going to move to our round of insights. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, give me a failure or an apparent failure that set you up for later success.
Yeah, I got a good story for this one. So I was 6 months into multifamily brokerage. It was my first year. And if you don't know, it takes anywhere from like 6 to 12 months to do your first deal in commercial real estate. And I was really struggling. I was, trying to stay afloat by driving for Uber on the weekends. I was doing a little bit of social media marketing to like stay afloat because I had no money coming in. And then on the day, and then like during the day, like for 8-9 hours, I would just be cold calling all day long. I was extremely drained, extremely done with the business, very close to quitting. And then I finally got my first listing like 6 months in. But the day after we signed up the listing, I was super excited, very stoked, ready to go, knew I could make it. And then the owner who signed the listing unexpectedly passes away. And the property had no trust or a will, and it goes to probate. And that same property couldn't be sold for at least 1 to 2 years. Yeah, so basically the owner passes away, the property goes into probate. That takes about 1 to 2 years to get out of. And the night that happened, I was just crying in my car on the way home, said I was going to quit the next day, hang up the hat. But there was something in my gut that told me to stick with it. And from that point, my trajectory has been, like a hockey stick. So I think the absolute deepest failure I had in my life, kind of the breaking point, made me achieve what I have today.
Oh, it's a great story, man. I appreciate you opening up and sharing that story there. All right, give me a digital or mobile resource you recommend for your business.
Ooh, I think everyone should have a very organized CRM, some kind of software that they use every single day, especially if you're a broker. If you're an investor, it's good to stay organized with the people you talk to, such as, agents in the area that can find you deals, or, contractors, property managers, whatever it is. It's good to have your contacts all in one area. But if you're an agent, broker, it's critical. I think you have to have it. And the CRMs I use I use Salesforce, and I also use Prospect Now to kind of find all the info on the properties. So yeah, I think those two platforms have really made me stay organized and scale fast.
All right, give me the book you've recommended or gifted the most in the last year.
I think the book I have recommended the most, it actually doesn't have to do with real estate specifically, but it's called How to Win and Influence Friends. I think real estate is a people business first, and then a real estate business second. And I think if you understand how to create relationships and make friends, you'll do very well.
Yeah, good points there. All right, give me a daily habit that helps you stay focused on your goals.
Yeah, I'm very particular, and I put my morning routine over everything. I think the way you start your day is very important. If you start your day, hitting the snooze button, crawling out of bed, and just driving straight to work, and you're half asleep, you're destined to have a bad day. But if you wake up early, you exercise, go to the gym, go on a run, get your mind clear, take a cold shower, meditate for 10 to 15 minutes before you leave the door, you'll be set and ready to go. So I think those two things, exercise, meditating, and journaling, of course, because journaling is really important to write down your goals and what you're grateful for. So I think those three things have really helped me kind of win every single day.
There you go. All right. Give me your number one insight for multifamily investing.
Number one insight for multifamily investing is to be patient. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You can grow very fast if you do it the right way, but it's good to really understand your risk more than the reward. If you can be risk adverse and understand what the absolute worst case scenario is, a lot of people underwrite the best case scenario, and those are the people that end up losing in markets like this. So I think, being conservative, but also taking calculated risk is the most important advice I can give to a multifamily investor just starting out.
All right. And you are out there in San Diego, as we've talked about. So give me your favorite place to grab a bite to eat.
Favorite place is called Anime here in San Diego. It's a restaurant in downtown. It's amazing, like Asian steakhouse. It's amazing.
I love it, man. Anime, we'll have to put that one on the list next time we're out there. Sounds like a great place. Hey, Jason, I want to go back to one thing, man. We talked about just, kind of scaling a portfolio and, everything you've been able to do on your side. But as a broker, when you're looking and working with, buyers, particularly since you are representing sellers, what are you looking for? Like when you're getting those LOIs, you're getting those offers, what are you looking for outside of price? We know obviously the highest prices are going to be very attractive, but walk us through that mindset of that broker when you're advising your client.
Yeah. So, 2021 was a crazy year. I had a lot of multiple offers on my properties, and a lot of times, there'd be an offer, head to head that were very similar in terms and price. And when it comes to advising my clients on which offer to take, I'm always going to advise the person that I know better, whether it's the agent or the investor, because I know that person has a good reputation and I know that they have a reputation for closing. And as a broker myself or any other brokers, they care about a buyer that's going to perform. So I think building a track record of doing what you say you're going to do, not changing the terms in escrow, because that makes the process for a broker much harder with their clients. So I think, performing on time, doing what you're saying you're going to do is going to take you a really long way. If you're in that situation and you've never bought a property before, I've realized that, being honest about your situation and kind of telling the broker upfront and not lying about what you've done is very important. I've taken some offers where, the price and terms were the same, and I advised my client on the first time buyer because he had everything lined up, his financing, the equity, everything. And he was a great guy to work with. I mean, he became a great friend of mine, and I thought that he had a good head on his shoulders. So I think just making the other broker that you're trying to work with really like you can take you a really long way if you're just getting started and you have no track record. And it gets easier and easier as you build a track record and people know you in the area and they go, oh, hey, that's John. When he makes an offer, he's going to close. So having that track record, it gets easier and easier. But when you're first getting started, just understanding people skills and showing them that you are well qualified and you have basically all your stuff together is critical.
I think it's a great insight right there. And I appreciate you sharing that because it's very helpful for people to understand just what that process is like. And yes, sometimes it is about the relationship. It is about the money, but sometimes there are things you can do to position yourself for success. You talked about lining up everything, showing the preparedness, having that conversation with that broker to show them, hey, I'm serious. I'm committed. I'm ready to go. I've already got everything that I could possibly get at this stage. I'm ready to buy this and I'm seriously committed to buying it, and demonstrating that certainty to close. That's the thing that's going to help you get the deal done. So appreciate that insight and very helpful. again, if you want to learn more about what Jason's doing, you can check out his podcast. And then you can also go to his YouTube channel, which is at Jason Joseph Lee on YouTube. So just check him out there. Jason, just want to thank you again for being a great guest, coming on Multifamily Insights. We look forward to staying in touch with you. And I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, John. Appreciate your time.